Hello, good evening, and welcome to Learn to Play Netrunner with System Gateway and Team Squared, but not necessarily in that order. I'm Mark, aka MCG, and until they find someone better, I'll continue to be your host for the evening. But who are these people, and what is their favourite film that's in some way related to Netrunner, and why?
I need props. Hang on. I've got
Dave needs
props for this question.
That's a serious question.
It's just
I already know. I know my answer because I pay a lot of attention to the streaming, even though I'm still dying. Hello, I'm Sarah. Today's the last day of my antibiotics, so in about a week I'm going to be a human again. So I'll disappear at some point and die in a corner. My favourite film related to Netrunner is Hackers. It's tenuous, I grant you. I'm just really going to go with net and the internet and Hackers. And that's all I can say. Hackers is the greatest awful hacking film that was ever made. But it did have Angelina Jolie in some kind of weird red leather thing. And, 13-year-old kids like that. And it was cool.
That was a lengthy description for such low-hanging fruit.
Hackers isn't rude.
Oh, I can't believe you would call my selection of Hackers a low-hanging fruit. Hackers is one of the best films ever made. Matthew Lillard is a god in this film, right? He's rolling around on his skateboard, the bad guy. There is nothing about this film that is bad in any way.
Correct.
It's a perfect piece of cinema. I enjoy it greatly. How
many times have you watched it?
I've worn out the DVD.
That's cool.
There's the Lillard at the top.
I still have some of the music on my iPhone app.
It's a perfect film. Hack the Planet.
It is a perfect film.
So
Hack the Planet!
That's my choice. That's my choice.
So Sharon,
good choice, Dave. Good choice.
What's your favourite film about hacking?
Sharon, you know what to do. Sharon, you know what to do.
Hi everyone, I'm Sharon. I think my favourite film, which could be compared to Netrunner, is This Is the End, the tale of an apocalypse happening in Hollywood. Because you start off the night having a good party, right? Everyone's having a good time. Things start going a bit haywire. You don't really know what's going on, much like me when I've put out a few cards and I'm trying to pull some agendas, but it's not really clear what's happening. And then things just go to shit, basically. The world, hell is opening up various pits. There are monsters trying to get you everywhere. And at the end, a few people ascend to heaven, but really everyone else is just stuck in this mire of their own.
Now I know what you like.
All the different cards I've put out are useless. I'm still getting run wherever I'm the corp, or if I'm the runner, I'm just losing all my money and getting damaged left, right, and centre.
This is too dramatic.
This is the end.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I feel like Channing Tatum.
Did you know that IMDb Hackers gets a 6.3? I'm disgusted, and I will be writing a strongly worded letter of complaint.
Out of 6.5, it's a weird system I'll give you, but it's correct.
Right, 46% on Metacritic. Clearly, these people never watched Hackers when Hackers was Hackers.
Yeah.
It's of the time and the moment, and it is the greatest film ever made.
It's also the most accurate depiction of hacking that we've seen in.
It's factual. Who hasn't got the big, old, lovely book?
Just to go back to Sharon's off-the-wall choice, which I'm fully in favour of because it indicated at least a moment's thought.
Rude.
Was you described the answer to having too many cards on the table as being the apocalypse, and in standard play, there's a card called Apocalypse that takes all the cards off the table. So that would have been prescient if we were up to standard yet. But alas,
such a nerd, Sharon.
That's to come in the future. So it's been a big week in the the charted history of Team Squared Learn to Play Netrunner, hasn't it?
Pretty much, pretty big, yeah.
Your first solo stream. You went off without your training wheels. I'm so proud.
It was a mess.
the biggest thing that happened was Nisei got in contact with us and said,
yes.
we'd like to feature you in a community roundup article of people who are talking about Netrunner at the moment. If you could just get your act together a bit more, we'd be pleased to feature you. So we have been tidying up the channel both here on Twitch and over on YouTube at the minute. So it hopefully looks a little bit more presentable now. We have gone... I think we've got 15 new subscribers here on Twitch
down there.
And 20 new followers on YouTube.
Thanks,
so if you are joining us for the first time, welcome again. Hope you enjoy the show.
Yeah.
If you're watching us on demand on the YouTubes, we are very sophisticated now. We have timestamps on our videos.
Oh, stop it.
So if you don't want to listen to me witter on at the start of every week, you can just skip straight forward to the gameplay.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and smash that bell for updates, which obviously there won't be very many of. It's like once a week. I swear it's nothing. Yeah.
Or twice a week, if, as you've already mentioned, Sharon and I go rogue and do a bonus stream where we don't really know how streaming works, but we do know how Jinteki works, and we just have a few games of Netrunner, which was a fun Friday night.
Yeah, we pretty much play until I can't take losing anymore.
You won a game. You won a full game.
I won a full game. I feel like that was real game as well, though. I think I got very lucky.
Getting better all the time. He said.
I was fishing for that. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. So now that we've kind of set the scene, let's just do the last flashback to last week before we move forward.
I hope this is screen flashback. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So the two things happened in last week's episode. Number one, I tried to do an intro into IDs and factions and deck building, and did what's becoming my usual bit now. Oh, we've lost Sharon. Where's Sharon?
Oh, I'm here.
She's here on my screen.
Oh, this is yep, there she is.
Don't worry, it's okay. I'll go and drink some more quickly.
The production values aren't as good on the main one as they are on the side.
Did what's becoming my MO now, and I spoke at length about a subject with no visual aids on the screen to help with it. And we had a very good question, which was, if colours is not your friend for some sort of visual reason, how do you tell which faction is which? So, just very briefly, I thought I would try and answer one of those questions whilst compensating for my lack of visual aids last week. So, here on the screen before you now are the three runner factions. From left to right, we have Anarch, Shaper, and Criminal. And the symbols across the top of the screen are the logos of each of those factions. At the bottom of the screen is the old FFG version of the logos. Now, for the purposes of System Gateway, you don't need to worry about that. In fact, you probably won't have to worry about that for some time. But there is obviously the chance at some point in the future you play against someone with cards from the olden days. And I thought it would just be useful to show both variations of that logo. They're very similar. The Anarchs are quite triangular and body partish. Greens are diamond with
Swoops.
Circles going around them, and blues are skulls. So that's where we are. And then I repeated and added to some of the descriptions of each of those factions as well, in terms of what they are from a lower perspective, and also how they play mechanically. So I'm not going to go through all of them again, but they're just on the screen for someone to have a look at. If you, excuse me.
Bless you.
That wasn't on the script. Thank you. If you look at some of these in your own time, there are lots of websites and resources about Netrunner in the world. You'll see some slight different perspectives on each of these, and it was quite interesting putting these together to see what different people define as the characteristics and abilities of the certain factions and how that's changed over time. For example, at one point, Criminal, the Blues, couldn't get a card for love nor money that attacked any server other than HQ. They were defined as the cards that go at HQ faction.
Sure.
But over time, designers have realised that when you signpost something so obviously, you just put 3 ice on HQ, and then criminals are rather stymied. So they've evolved, and one of the cards we'll look at later actually allows you to target R&D now, and there are many cards that have changed like that over time. If we flick on to the corpse. Same story here, really. Again, the upper version of each logo is the one we play with now under the directions of Nisei, and the old version is there just for your reference. You can see that, again, they're all very similar. The colours of the cards have remained the same, and the characteristics have broadly stayed the same, but also have evolved so that each of the factions is not necessarily so one note as it once was. For example, Wayland at one time were the Barriers faction, and they still are the Big Barriers faction, but they also have playable cards that are code gates and sentries now, because otherwise, all you play against Wayland is a Fractor, and don't bother with any other type of icebreaker, and that's not healthy for the game either.
Like my type of corp, though.
There's certainly the type of corp. I mean,
their start came in construction, Mark. Come on.
You mean they're big and evil?
They are certainly big and evil.
Oh, let's see what they're Sharon's faction.
They build bridges and they blow people up. It's basically Sharon's day job.
It is Sharon.
In art as in life.
We'll have on that note, we're going to kick off the gameplay section with looking at the decks we've been playing around with the last week, which were Lou from the Anarchs and Built to Last from the Waylands, and have a look at what we've learned and how we've got on with them over the last couple of weeks. Take it away, Dave.
Sure, let's head over to the game section now. I'm going to boot up a new game. Here we go.
Am I playing against you, Dave?
I assume someone is, yes.
Me.
I wouldn't play with him. That would be really awkward.
It would make for a different game.
I'm joining.
Mark, are there any competitive formats, cooperative formats in the game at all, or is it strictly competitive?
Oh, like a team, like 2v2 or something would be cool.
So, officially, and the short answer is no.
Oh, sure.
At the last ever FFG event, they tried to launch a new format of the game called NAPD, New Angeles Police Department. That
rolls off the tongue.
Had obviously received at least 5 minutes playtesting before they displayed it to the world. And you had 3 runners competing against 1 Supercorp, and it was completely busted. And the runners had a massive advantage, and the only way it was playable was with a lot of house rules to try and stop the runners just walking away with it.
But it was multiple people versus one sort of big boss in the middle.
Yeah, quite. And then, completely unofficially, but very popular around the fringes of events when a group of netrunners get together, is what we call two-headed or even three-headed netrunner. And that is a normal game, one-on-one, but you're playing with 2 or 3 players on either side, but you're not allowed to communicate. You just pass the cards between each other and hope that you're all on the same
You pass
wavelength.
the same hand between each other.
Exactly. With hilarious events.
That sounds brilliant.
I can strongly recommend that for hijinks aplenty.
That does sound pretty good. Sharon, are you picking a deck, or are we?
Just wanted to confirm which deck I should.
Last week's decks.
3 last week. Okay, got it. And there, party animal Renee.
Sorry, Mark, you were saying.
Well, I was just saying that I think the last time I played that, I was working with Alex, and I managed to blow a very strong position
as the waitress in the cocktail bar.
When I I wasn't fully paying attention to his turn and didn't react to what I definitely should have reacted to when he passed the cards over to me.
Sure.
So that's the type of hilarity and shenanigans you can get up to, though.
Love a few shenanigans, that's for sure.
My favourite things are shenanigans.
Right, Dave, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, I've already begun this show and this road.
Sharon, if you don't steal 2 agendas in your first move, I'm logging off.
Right, I get it.
You just told me a massive hint about Dave's.
I understand.
No, I haven't even looked at Dave's deck. It was the joke about last week when you just managed to pull 2 agendas out the bag.
Oh, my lucky runs.
Last week. Clearly not been rewatching the stream, which is boring.
I watched I put the stream on in the background, so it feels like we're
just to listen to your own voice. That's not weird.
Sharon, it's your go.
I'm on it. Get out this cheeky little fermenter. Do love a little fermenter. And happy.
Oh, that's quick.
Ooh. No, didn't mean to do that. God.
Wow, and that's quick as well.
I'm back into the fold.
For the viewers, whoever's sweep had 22 minutes on Sharon's first undo click, you just want to prize.
Okay.
I thought it was from the time they started playing the game, which is why I put 43 seconds.
Which would have been, quite quick.
Okay.
Rise above us, Sharon, rise above.
Yeah, ignore them. They're being mean to you.
Thank you, Dave.
Wow, that is an aggressive opening of fermented double leech.
Holy cack. Okay. Sure. At least you don't have any MU for anything to get through my ice.
Is the problem.
Right. Let's have a look.
Have enough money anymore.
Go one of these, like that. Then.
When did you get 10 credits? What the heck?
Yeah, it's been a pretty good run so far. My first hand had a lot of dosh in it. He
had the stereotypical ideal opening hand of Ice Hedge Fund. Ice Baby, it's the
Is that a song? I was going to say. Yeah. If you could do it in the accent to the rhythm, I would appreciate that.
Okay, back to the game.
Check it!
Alright, stop, trash my hand and listen.
I'm super impressed with that.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Oh, look, I've just seen on Do Click and knowing to drag a card back to grip is top tier net wizardry from Jay Warwick 816. And the reality is, I just make so many mistakes. So it's the one thing I've learned really, really quickly. And like now, I thought I'd finished my go. Sorry, Dave.
No, that's okay. You take as long as you want. Remember, we're here for a long time, not a good time.
She cried. I couldn't help it.
Okay.
Dave.
Oh no! Oops. Wow. Well.
Hey. You know what to do.
I do know what to do, actually, Sharon. Now that you mention it,
leave your
I
server
do
to
know
your
what to
unprotected...
do. I do know what to do. Thank you.
Is it a trap? What could it be?
Are you ready?
No. Ah. I mean... let's have a crack at your unguarded regolith mining license. I'm sure you've got another, so... down.
There we go, and it is gone.
It's away, absolutely. What do I have? Oh, damn, that wasn't a central server.
It was not.
It was not.
Oh, yeah. Mind games.
Hoping to make use of my leeches, but they remain naked and bare. You, Dave.
Well, this is going to be an interesting turn, Sharon. Are you ready? Start turn.
Yes.
Then.
I mean, you've already got 16 credits, so how much more did you want?
How many credits you got?
None.
Ooh. Nice tag, nerd. Ha. So, right.
Can you make use of that? I'm guessing you can. I mean, Dave, what are you going to do if I just decide to take all the tags?
I'm going to, trash that.
I mean, that's fair.
See you later, Cash. There we go. Right, well, that was pretty good.
Quite awkwardly, I had completely forgotten I had a fermenter card out until you trashed it. I would have liked to have taken money from that last time.
Yeah.
Instead of my basic runner action to gain 2 credits for 2 clicks.
And then I'll advance that by 1, and then it's your go.
I mean, that was a savage turn, Dave.
It was pretty brutal, right? It matched so well with the last turn. I was like, I know what I've got to do here.
Only the viewers at home will know how lucky that top decking was.
Hey, look, miracles happen 9 draws out of 10. Yeah, so you've got to believe in the miracles because they do happen. Right.
I don't think I'm anywhere near using that, so on save.
One of those.
Oh, another bloody hedge fund?
Advance, score. Yes.
Very good. Makes sense.
And then it's the end of my turn. Right. Here we go. Oh, damn it! Cleared the tag! Oh, I'd hoped you'd forgotten about the tag. Okay. Yep. Well, that's fair enough.
Dave, just, yeah.
Okay. Let's start with some of that. We'll put this there. We'll advance it once and then we'll go next. Your next turn, Sharon?
Cards that help me to do things. Oh, so hard. Right, let's draw. Well, that's interesting. Pop you out. 2 clicks.
Most of your viruses are out already, aren't they? It's kind of unfortunate the timing on the cookbook.
R.
Or, as
Yeah.
Mark would say, the kook book.
Kook book.
Mm.
Does love a good kook book.
Mm.
That's what they're called up here.
Yeah, I can't remember how many of these you got. 2?
Do this. Fingers crossed.
Whoa!
Show me the goods, Dave.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I've rezzed it. What you gonna do?
It's a little tithe.
Pretty shitty one to use Mayfly on, isn't it?
But you're not getting... Well, no, you will get past it. Like, if you don't, you'll just take 1 net damage, which is a card in hand at this point. So...
Yeah, I'll use Mayfly. I'll use a couple of the credits from Overclock.
It should be pretty cheap to do anyway, because the Mayfly is already at strength.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. Are you going to...
I've done it.
You fully broke it. Sure enough.
Yeah, I went there.
Go for it. Good luck, I guess.
Go screw yourself, Dave.
Oh, that good, was it? Oh, I'm so glad I've got something I really don't care about coming up. My favourite. Right, what? Oh, it is, yeah. It is a central server, isn't it? So you're just boosting up your leech for free. Okay.
Yep.
That's fine. In that case...
Certainly the leech counters against tithe.
Yeah. Let me, yeah. Well, yeah, that's, I mean... Which is kind of annoying, but...
Just to be clear, I can't break through Tithe even if I reduce its strength down to 0 unless I've got a card that breaks that type of program, right?
Correct. Breaking is breaking, regardless of strength.
Yeah.
Got it.
Although being able to do it for the cheap price of basically the cost of the break is excellent. Okay. I've only got 2 clicks left. I tell you what. Let's pray.
But busy. Oh, what have you got there, Dave? What have you got there? I mean, you could have just advanced and scored that, couldn't you?
Yeah, if it was a 3-for-1, that would have been another +2 maximum hand size. Oh, that's a lot of cards to choose from there, Sharon. Get some cash in the bank.
Oh, I made a mistake.
Do you want to undo that click?
No, because I made a mistake in my general approach.
Oh, okay.
Was it spending all the game on 0 credits?
Yeah,
because that has been
0 credits.
Mainly a mistake so far.
Oh, I want to keep all these things.
Oh yeah, you've got trashing. Oh, trashing. What did we get rid of? Carnivore. Oh.
Crying shame.
Oh wow, Sharon. That seems.
I don't even
expensive.
remember how many carnivores I've got in this deck.
1. I think.
1.
Seems expensive.
Oh, I needed that as well because I needed more MU. Okay. Gameplay on my part.
Let's go for once more with feeling. Sure. Oh.
Okay. Get that bloody out.
Oh, 9 credits. Ooh. Okay, sure enough.
I know, I'm laughing.
The Shore Gamble. Oh, the Ice Brachier. Good for code gates.
To you.
Cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. You got their protecting archives, Dave?
Yeah, I got something protecting archives.
Want me to run archives? Rude.
Yeah, sorry. Kind of felt like I had to stop your shenanigans somehow. Right.
Got things in server 1?
Okay, you'll go. Yeah, there we go.
Dave,
Hi, left protect. Left protect. I'm obviously not pronouncing that correct, but yeah, you're still very welcome.
Oh.
Okay, I feel like I had a really strong start and things have gone a little bit downhill since.
I think what you've stopped doing is drawing cards.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, for sure. I know I've got so much space in hand. Yeah.
If I've learned anything, it's have credits and have cards. You know, classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's just bloody use this. What do you want me to have, Dave? Cards or credits? Cards or credits?
Let's give you...
I don't know what CMS is the answer. I think he had a good go at it, but sometimes you just got to cut your losses and say that
it's fine. I'll tell you what I could have done is nothing, because Sharon is currently stuck sniffing at her leeches. And because her leeches are so tempting, she only wants to run central servers right now, which means I'm kind of free to just move things forwards on other servers. But you're right, there is a degree where...
Why do you want to make server 1 more tempting?
Oh, because I trashed an Urtica Cypher out of it. I got rid of an Urtica that I'd advanced there. And the timing on it I thought was pretty good, but didn't work out that well for me, to be honest, because you had no money and you had nothing to bust down any ice. So the play was good. It was just too early, and yeah, you were sort of stunted.
No, the play was pretty good because we saw Sharon
telling me what that face down card was. Thank you.
Well, yeah, Dave just got himself a game loss there for revealing hidden information.
Oh, really? Urtica trashes face down.
Yep, if the runner doesn't see it, it goes face down into your archives.
Oh, sure. I'm only going to be trashing Urtica Cyphers this game.
But we did see Sharon slam down a Mayfly and make a run, which would have been great for you, David. That had been on the remote, but it was an unsolicited run on R&D instead. It was fine, but it saved a lot of net damage in Sharon's case. But
well, yeah, quite. It would have been quite a big hit, I think. It might not have been that big a hit at that point. I think it was just a +1, but yeah. Oh.
Code gate. God bloody damn it.
Barriers and code gates. 3 clicks and 6 credits. 8 credits and 1 click left. It's a real wacky show where anything will go. Are you going to end your run or are you going to take your tag?
I'm going to take a goddamn tag.
Well, shut my mouth. Bloody hellfire. Right, and now are you going to code gate slap it? Are you going to chop through it?
Got to, really.
Incredible. What an absolute rip.
Sharon, did
swear
you...
this is a cipher.
Sharon.
I'll be...
Sharon, you might want to undo your click. You didn't use any of your unless you're saving your virus tokens. It looks like you paid the iron price for destroying that. So yeah, okay, cool. Right, okay, run it again. I'll res it. Right now, take your tag, and then, if you want to, use the leech to downpower it by 1, which should get it to 3, which is the same as your buzzsaw. So now your buzzsaw can break for 1, which is a lot cheaper. That saves you 3 credits overall.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Dave.
No worries.
And again, I'd forgotten I had the leeches. Smart.
Okay, quick question, Mark. For action before access, do I consider resing the data vault an action before access, or does it happen anyway?
It's not an ambush, but it's not going to do anything if you do res it.
Oh, sure. I mean, I might as well, because it's there and she gets access, right?
Well, it costs you a credit to do for no reason. I'd have left it face down.
Oh, but surely I want the effect.
Moneybags Dex has got loads
What
of
effect
credits.
do you think it's going to give you? Because you may have been playing this card wrong.
Yeah, sure. Okay, no, you're right. The effect is tempting 4 credits worth of spend.
Okay. Well, trash costs are still the same if they're face down or otherwise.
Rats.
Quickly, it asked me which card I wanted to access. Can I access them both?
You have to access them both. It's asking you which one do you want to go first.
Yeah.
Oh, regolith mining license.
Did you trash my regolith? Oh wow, that was rude. Right, well, okay then.
Dave, you can't say rude with a straight face when we can all see what cards you've got in your hand.
Mark, have you seen what I just top decked? The miracles happen 9 times.
You don't even need that one.
Oh, well, it's true. Yep.
Although you are the master of top decks today, it's true.
It's going pretty well. Right, so.
What's top decking mean?
It means the last card that you drew. If you draw nuts on off of the top of your deck, it's referred to as top decking, because you top deck a winner or you top deck a piece of trash. But that's your draw essentially.
For example, if a player lands themselves in a tag because of a reckless last click run, and then you happen to draw a card that punishes tags, that would be called top decking because you've just drawn the card you need.
To punish tags.
I just deleted your code gate breaking ice, because you had a tag.
So you have been retributed twice now.
And how many retributions are there?
There are 3.
3. Mm. Is that the maximum number of retributions you can have in a deck?
It is.
And if I were playing a random stranger, I clearly wouldn't know what they had in their deck. But are there other cards that they might have in their deck, as well as retribution, that would punish me for being tagged?
In System Gateway format, no.
But you've got standard tag punishment, right? A click and 2 credits, and you can delete an asset.
A resource.
A resource.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah. So you could get rid of the cookbook or the
verbal plasticity.
Verbal plasticity whilst they were tagged. That's true. But yeah, there is a whole multitude of sins available to you in the intent of tag punishment in the standard data pool, card pool.
An idiot. Oh gosh, I did not mean to do that.
10 cards!
Draw.
Out of 5!
I didn't mean to draw. What do I do?
Undo the click. Undo the click. Undo the click.
I've seen it though.
Yeah.
You have seen it, but we're not playing. It's not.
No, it doesn't matter too much. Like, I don't think it'll drive your next decisions so heavily. Although that was amusing.
I can only hope you play VRcation at this point, Sharon. That would be the cherry on the
cake. You know what? I don't need this. I don't need this stack. Whatever. Just get in the heap.
I just feel fudged, really. My own poor strategy just led me nowhere.
Well, you've got one click left, so use it wisely, I guess. Ooh. Oh. It's +3?
Yeah, the res cost will be +3.
Once again, I don't know why I did that, because I should have done something else.
Don't think you've got any way through Funhouse, have you? Like, Funhouse is a code gate. You've got no code gate breakers?
No, but Funhouse doesn't stop the run. If she's going tag me, that's...
I suppose so, yeah. It's not a run stopper. That is, though.
That's a true story.
Yep. And with no credits, I don't think you can break the barrier subroutine.
Oh, 0 credits.
Yeah. There it is.
Against the run, that's not too bad.
Yeah, at least it didn't extra tag you. But yeah, it does end the run. Oh. Okay. Right, so that's 1, 2.
Hindsight, I realised that I should have probably run R&D.
Score that. 7 credits. End turn. There we go. You still would have had no cash to get through R&D, though.
Don't you worry, Dave. I do not have any cash, full stop.
Sure, sure.
You can just go crazy now on the agenda scoring. I've just played so poorly.
Well, he's not in the clear yet. You can break the remote server for 1 credit at the moment if you're happy to stay tag me.
I mean, I think I might as well.
So,
yeah, I mean, that's not how that's going to continue. Let's face it. Cool, bloody hell. Okay, sure. Okay, sure.
You get these coins every time you advance.
Yeah, the Wayland Consortium ID bonus is pretty cool.
It is so good, in fact, that in standard at the moment, this ID is pretty monstrous.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It has lent itself to a deck that is no fun for either player, but is very difficult to beat.
Does that mean that whenever you see this, you're like, you know what, maybe I'll just scoop?
Yeah, it is exactly that situation.
I do not want to do that yet. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
The general consensus at the moment is that the co-op is massively up and runner in the standard card pool, and you think you can either try and kind of fluke it out, or just not bother. Let's get on with my co-op game and see if I win.
Sure. Okay.
Damage, Dave. Do it.
Fire Unbrokens. Continue to pass ice. There we go. Continue to encounter ice. Uh-huh. And continue to pass ice. And you take your tag.
You're going to double tag. You're going to take
Double
2 tags
tag.
this time.
Woo.
And then take your other tag.
Yeah.
Dave, now, we don't know if you're misplaying or if you're just doing a good job of styling it out, apparently.
Yeah, go for it.
You've got to fight. Here we are.
None of these are misplays. It's all exactly purposeful. Right, fire those. Sure, that's a lot of tags. And then we're on to pass ice. No furthers?
Oh, agenda.
Excellent. Cool.
It's not going to be a total routing.
Sorry, I just couldn't afford Pharos, so...
You've got Pharos?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been protecting my hand all this time.
And? What?
Yeah, it's been protecting my HQ.
So now that you've stolen Sander message, Dave gets to res an ice for free.
Yep.
And he has chosen to res the Pharos that's been on HQ for a while.
See.
So that is good value for Dave. I mean, he's had to lose 3 points to do it. But, saved him 7 credits.
Yeah. The cost was good. Right, okay. So
If you'd made that agenda, though, then you'd just be 1 point off, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yep. But that's all right because I can penny pinch my way to win through smaller agendas. Still, if needs be. Plus, I think I've got another send a message in there as well.
Yeah. So that cost me 1 card, 1 credit, 2 tags. Right, let's just beef myself up. Credit? Let's get another credit just in case. What would I do with it?
Sure.
See what I can steal. Let's see. Let's see.
Fire Unbrokens, I guess. Nice. Then.
Oh, I didn't mean to click it. Well, I clicked it twice, so I thought I didn't.
Oh, that's right. I've fired. Continue to pass. Continue to encounter. Then Palisade you have to break. Cool. Then continue to pass. Then continue to encounter. Then Funhouse you have to take all of the tags.
I'd like to just emphasise at this stage that the MCG school of Netrunner does not endorse this blatant disregard for tags.
Well, fair enough.
It was successful for Dave last time. I'm going to try.
It was, yes, and so
because I
feel like
I think I've just played myself, unfortunately.
These tags do nothing.
But the way that you both managed to prove everything I say is wrong is rather disconcerting. But
sorry, it's not intentional. It's just easy.
I've indicated that you can fire the Funhouse subroutines.
Well, I mean, I would do, except apparently I can't. I fired them. I fired Unbroken.
You already fired them.
So it's continued to pass ice. Yeah. There we go.
Agenda. Not. Ooh. Yeah.
Paid for it as well. Right.
Taking it.
Okay. Are you ready, Sharon? I'm gonna kill.
I'm not ready.
This one. Yep. And I'll get rid of whatever the hell.
It says you've just used verbal plasticity. I don't understand.
I just killed verbal plasticity using my resource trashing powers. I ain't gonna draw one. I know I'm not gonna use it this turn, but yeah, it's now your go.
You trashed cookbook. I've got my viruses out already.
I know, but I like to use my.
You've got some of your viruses out already,
Yeah.
haven't you?
There are a couple of absolute beaters in there that I don't want to see coming out with extra virus points on.
Got it.
Which would make raiding my server 1 a pain in the bum. A royal pain in the bum for me to defend.
Can you just scroll your log down, Dave, so that the viewers
certainly.
At home can...
Sorry, I didn't know we were. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Can see the non-stop action that's going on.
A echelon, and then let's. Why do I need credits to run a credit card? Can I undo echelon because I did not understand something?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. I mean, I understood it after I realised I tried to buy something.
Yeah.
And I had no credits. I'm back into my hand, Monsieur Echelon.
An echelon, eh?
I mean, I made mistakes, so you might as well know what I had.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. What was the card? Oh, draw one card. Oh, creative commission to finish with. An absolute cheap shot. Right.
Just to be clear, I almost played that on my penultimate go.
Really?
But thankfully, remembered.
Okay, so I'm going to draw one. I'm going to advance that because that gets me cash. 2 cash, in fact, which is chef's kiss. Then
it's only a net gain of 1.
Yeah, but it's better than just spending to a click to gain credit.
True, I agree with that.
It's a better version, yeah. And then that's going to cost me 4 to install one on server 1.
Sorry, was that Dave?
It'll cost me 4 credits to... Oh, no, 3 credits. Oh, because it's 3 out from standard. Yep, okay.
Yeah, your first one costs 0, and then you've got 1, 2, 3. What you could also think about doing, if Sharon doesn't take a turn, is that if Funhouse is doing nothing for you now because Sharon's just deciding to take the tag, as you install that ice, you can trash Funhouse and save yourself a credit.
Of course.
I do that instead, Dave.
Saves you 1 credit, doesn't it?
So the fix for that is you just drag Funhouse to your archives and add yourself 1 credit back on rather than undoing the whole click.
Yeah, makes sense. There we go. Cool. Okay. And then it's you, Sharon.
Right, let's
I think Sharon's out of tread lightly's, but that was what I was concerned about cost-wise. I would have had, I think I would have been had enough cash money anyway, but oh, for crying out loud, a botulus, delightful.
Friend.
Oh, virus friend.
Our little germy friend.
Uh-huh.
See. 5 credits. Have a crack, eh? Oh. I'm a bloody idiot, but never mind.
Do you have the cash
Oh
for
no,
this?
I'm not an idiot. I do. Thank you, Dave.
It's going to be
Do I
expensive,
crack
but
on,
it's
yeah?
possible.
Was that, sorry?
I use my botulus.
Yes, that only gets rid of one subroutine, which I assume is an end the run subroutine because you don't give a monkeys about tags.
I
Which means
misunderstood.
you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 credits. It's going to be. Oh.
I misunderstood what I was doing with botulus. I thought it was going to reduce the strength. Not break a subroutine.
No. And actually, interestingly enough, with your cleaver, if you don't care about getting tags, actually, it's going to cost exactly the same to disable the Pharos completely anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to be able to.
You can break the Pharos now by using your leech token, and I think 3 credits then. So it's not the end of the world if that's what you choose to do.
Really?
And you just save your botulus for next time.
Yeah, no, I just misunderstood.
What you are here, what we call you here, Sharon, is on tilt.
I don't know. This seems like failing successfully though. Using the leech.
Oh, yeah. Fine. I guess I'll just take the punishment, really. Right, come on, leech.
Correct.
Not using botulus. Strength and fully break?
No, you can't fully break it, and you don't want to. Fully breaking it would cost you 1 extra credit that you don't want to spend. So what you actually want to do is match strength with it.
Got it. Match strength. Break up to 2 routines.
Break up to 2 routines. And then the 2 routines you want are end the run and end the run. Because you'll go and tag me with 5 tags, I would assume. And
I've broken the 2 end the run routines.
I fire the unbroken, so you gain a tag. And then we continue to past the ice. And then I know further actions.
Let's see what I get to see. But I don't have money to trash anything now, so... Ooh!
Buggeration.
Lucky again. Cool. And I will take it. I will absolutely take that. Where are we? 1 click. Credits. You can attack me if I'm not running on you, can you, Dave? Or Mark?
What's that, sorry?
Funny story. I can't know. I
didn't hear the question.
There's no way for me to just attack Sharon, is there? At any point.
Unless I'm making a run.
Not as far as ice is concerned and such, no. I mean, you can certainly play cards that have an effect on the runner, but as we've seen with some of the retributions and such, but at the moment, no, there's nothing you can just reach over with and interfere with your ordinary state.
Any cards in any of the decks which would allow the corp to attack the runner without the runner running?
It depends what you mean by attack. But by and large, no. Because thematically speaking, the runner is either in their home or in an internet cafe or whatever, and they are tootling about on their computer, going about their business, and the corp is in their offices doing their business, and only when the runner runs do they interact. Apart from in certain situations, like for example, if you were carrying 6 tags around. But in these system gateway decks, the amount of tag punishment is minimal.
Okay. Sharon?
way that I can just take damage, I think. Palisade, I have to break. That hidden one. What is it, Dave?
It could be another tithe. It could be another Pharos. What else have I got in my deck? It could be a white space. It could be another tithe. No, I've already said another tithe. It could be anything. It could be it could be a hedge fund. It can't be a hedge fund.
Can't judge if it's a hedge fund.
Yeah. So, here's interesting. You've got nothing for breaking code gates out. It is a code gate.
Okay.
Looks like it fires away.
Boom. Run down.
Please. No problem. Oh, god damn it, Sharon. Orbital, the smartware distributor.
Okay, so. Oh, this feels mean.
Why does it feel mean?
Boom!
It's absolutely savage. We've finally seen something that can...
Well done.
So the only reason it worked was because of the tags.
So if you read the text on orbital superiority, it says, normally when you score this, give the runner one tag.
Got it.
But if the runner is already tagged, it does 4 meat damage.
And the other cards that I had protecting my HQ and my archives were, I mean, there was a white space, but there was another tithe. And I was hoping that if you were going to run HQ, that you would allow that tithe to do you 1 damage, just to keep your hand count low, just in case you were going for HQ again, because it was successful last time. So I wanted to keep your hand count low so that I could kill you with orbital superiority.
I just couldn't get any traction with the money. And I made some really stupid decisions early on as well.
Well, I don't want to say stupid, but yes, you certainly
they
played
were stupid.
a little recklessly early on until you found your feet again. And then when you stole the superconducting hub to get on 4 points, I don't know whether you noticed then, but obviously on 4 points then you're technically on match point. So as soon as you could get Echelon down to put pressure on R&D, Dave would have been in big trouble, because you all need to send a message on top of R&D, and that's GG.
It is indeed. And
so Dave,
I think it's still in there.
My thinking was that I thought that Dave could quite easily advance a lot of agendas on server 1. I thought that's what he was trying to do.
Once he found the white space, he'd essentially locked you out of the remote there. You would either have had to play a Botulus on it, or a Mayfly, or you'd have had to get so many credits that you just ran into it, lost 3, and still had 7 or more left, which is not what you want to be doing.
Yeah, because of the 2 dead buzzsaws, right?
Because of the 2 dead buzzsaws. So the problem he had early on, despite him having all the momentum, that remote of Palisade and Funhouse was rather useless against leech tokens, a cleaver, and the disregard for tags.
Tag me, yeah.
So there was no way for Dave to push out there with any aggression. And then when you ran HQ, it was actually a very good play from you, because you've noticed, well, you may have noticed that Dave wasn't able to push out because the remote was so porous. Therefore, agendas might be piling up in HQ, and you found one, and there was another one in HQ there that you unfortunately missed as well. So
lucky to find one though, because didn't Dave have like 6 or 7 cards at that point?
I had like another 2-pointer available, I think it was.
Yeah, I think he had 6 cards in hand, but you're going to see 2 out of 6. That's not bad odds.
That's pretty good going.
No,
yeah.
not at all.
So,
are we playing the other way around, or are we going to learn about new cards?
No, we're going to move on because I think we've seen quite a few games of this matchup now. We'll talk about the new decks, then we'll maybe have some more games of that.
Sure enough.
So, spinners away.
Here we go. Okay. So, who are we looking at first?
Okay. Oh, mate, where's Discord done? Okay. So, the good news is that we are approaching the end of System Gateway now. I think in total we have 18 new cards to look at. We're going to look at 12 of them today. And then that'll just save us 6 for next week. We're going to do something slightly different next week as well as finish off and look at them 6 cards. So we'll dive off with the runner to begin with. And now that we're at this stage where we know most of the cards in System Gateway, rather than just putting together a deck that shows off new cards, what I've done this week is try to put 2 decks together that are a little bit more optimized or designed to work in a certain way. So hopefully you'll get a feel for not just being able to play through a game, but a little touch closer to what a real, in quotes, game may feel like.
Sure.
So the first new card we're going to look at is the Criminal Identity. And her name is Zaya Sadeghi. And if you just excuse me for a minute while I get that in front of me so I can read it. It says she's a cyborg and she's a smuggler, as you can see from her subtitle. And her ability is whenever a run on HQ or R&D ends, you may gain 1 for each time you accessed a card during that run. And that wording seems a little clunky, but that is for complicated rules reasons that I won't get into right now.
Sure.
Basically what it means is every card you accessed during that run. So, under normal conditions, you have a run on HQ or R&D, you see 1 card, and therefore she earns you 1 credit. But if you have a Docklands Pass on the table, so that you see an extra card when you run HQ, her ID is then worth 2 credits.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a Docklands Pass installed and you play a jailbreak and run HQ, you'll see 3 cards, and then her ID is going to be worth 3 credits.
Sure.
If they've tried to dissuade you from running on HQ by installing something like an Amaze Amusements there, you will access 3 cards in the Corp's hand, but also the upgrade, and you will access 4 credits from Zaya's ability. So the more cards you get to access in one of your turns, one of your runs each turn, the better it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of part of what we're going to look at in the composition of the deck in a second.
Sure. A quick observation. The wording is specifically to manage timing so that, for instance, you don't get 1 credit every time you access a card. It's at the end of that turn you gain this chunk of credits, so you can't then go, well, I've accessed 1 card, I've accessed 2, there's my 3rd, I was at 0 credits, but now I've got 3 credits that I can use to trash the card that I've just accessed. So it stops you from being able to get lucky at the end of that.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, that's part of it for sure. Yeah, you get them at the end of your run. It's also a whenever ability, not a first time ability, and that's important because you may want to run R&D and see 1 card,
mm-hmm.
and you say, no, I don't want to use Zaya's ability this time, because on my next click, I'm going to run HQ and see 2 cards, and 2 is better than 1.
You might have a virus that increases the number of cards that you're looking at, that sort of thing. So you want to power those up first, so you get a good one. Yeah.
So yeah, it's for you to choose when you are using Zaya's ability.
Gotcha.
It's not just an automatic thing when you run on HQ or R&D.
Cool.
And the numbers at the bottom are the same for all the runner IDs in System Gateway, in that her standard deck size or minimum deck size is 40, and her influence limit is 15.
Cool.
Okay, so before we talk any more about deck composition, I'll just show you the 2 new cards that you've got to play with in here. So it's only a smaller number of new cards on the runner side. So first, let's get Marjanar out of the way.
Right.
So let's tackle the obstacle in the room, or the space lion, and say the elephant in the room, I should say, or the space lion, that Marjanar is not very good.
Yeah.
It's part of Criminal's colour pie that fractors are not very good. And therefore, this is the fractor to try kind of teach you that. It's cheap to install, which is nice.
Yep.
0 credits, in fact. But it only has a base strength of 1. You've got to pay 1 for each strength you want to pump it. So for a Palisade on a remote, that's a pump of 3. For a Pharos, that's a pump of 4. And then worse than that, to break, for each barrier subroutine you want to break, it costs 2 credits unless you have already made a successful run this turn.
Nice bum. Can that go down to 0 or not?
No, it's just 1 less to use for 1 successful run.
Oh,
so if you've got an open archives, for example, and you can run on archives and get a penny shaver credit and then make a run elsewhere, okay, it's not terrible. But as soon as the co-op gets smart to that, they're going to smash another piece of ice down there and say, well, is it worth you paying through this piece of ice just so you can get a discount on another piece of ice?
Sure.
And not really. Subsequently, yeah, I can't really recommend Marjanar. It's there to demonstrate one of the new cards to you, but it doesn't get the seal of approval from me.
It's GAC. Yeah.
Quick
to kind
question.
of yeah, Sharon?
On Marjanar, if you make 2 successful runs in a turn, does that mean the ability costs 2 credits less to use?
No.
Well, that sucks.
It should be read as, if you have made 1 or more successful runs this turn, the ability costs 1 less to use. Not.
Otherwise, it would be 4 each, right? Successful run you've made this turn.
Yeah, something. It would be worded differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is no way of making this good, basically.
No.
It's just a cheap thing. Now, if you're in a meta where barriers are not being played much, and that has happened in the past, people have abandoned barriers altogether because they've not been very useful, and you're just putting this in as an emergency type thing, then sure. But at the moment, it's quite a weak card.
Yeah.
Conversely, we have a strong card in the shape of Tranquilizer.
Tranquilizer. Oh my! I saw this when I was inputting the deck, and that's pretty grim.
So Tranquilizer, does it remind you of any other cards we've played with recently?
It's I don't know, but it feels a bit like Botulism Plus. Like
exactly
as strong
that.
as Botulism is, this one de-reses the ice after 3 goes. So you put the corp on a timer as to whether they want to sack off an entire turn every couple of turns to keep a piece of ice, unless they can find a way of dealing with it, if that ice is important to them.
Yeah.
Which is
so
grim.
Exactly. Well, you've summed it up pretty astutely there.
It's grim.
So you install it on a piece of ice, just like you do with Botulus, and then when you install it, and also every time your turn begins, you place one virus counter on the program. Then, if there are 3 or more hosted virus counters, you de-res that piece of ice. Now, that's not an instant speed effect. Careful with the word in here. This is a start of turn effect. So, sorry, this is even more complicated. This is when you place a virus counter effect.
Yeah.
So, at the start of the turn, if you are placing a 3rd virus counter on it, the de-res happens then. If you were doing some magic, which I don't think happens in System Gateway, but it does in Standard, where you're automatically putting 3 virus counters on it when you install it, the de-res happens immediately.
Yeah.
But the Corp does have the option of re-resing that piece of ice. So if they've put that 3rd virus counter on it, de-resed it, then you run at it, if they want to pay the res cost again, it still reses.
But
at the start of their next turn, when they add the next virus counter, it will de-res again. But the Corp always has the opportunity, if you push your luck too far and decide I'll run through this with 0 credits, they can say, hang on a minute, I'm going to res this.
But that could be quite an expensive task for the Corp, dependent on the cost of the card to res, right? You could really punish the Corp's need to use big ice with this.
You don't want to be installing this on a Tithe. You want to be installing this on a Pharos, on a Funhouse, on a Bran, something that the runner is going to something that's going to cause the Corp to sigh deeply, because they know that expensive piece of ice is going to be de-resed shortly. The other option you've got with it...
Could you imagine Mark's face if we did install it on a Tithe?
Yeah, I'd do it. I'd do it.
That'll show him.
That'll show him. Yeah, I bet it would work as well. I bet it would work. We'd find some way of making it work.
I'll give £10 to anyone that does.
In fact,
I'll let you eat dinner if you do it.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah.
On an escape holiday, not just like we're allowed to eat dinner. No, whilst we're meant to be escaping
every night.
Yeah.
No, I'm not cool with that. I want to do more rooms. Less eating. This seems like a downside. It's a trap.
It's for me to do.
It's a trap.
The other thing you can do with this, and this is not as sensible an idea, but with how reckless you'd enjoy playing, why the heck not? You can install this blindly on a piece of ice. So you don't. It might be a Tithe, or it might be a Pharos, but what you're doing then is putting the question in the Corp's head of, do I want to res this if it's going to cost me? Now, if you're behind, say, and the Corp's scoring agendas with gay abandon, and you're like, I can't find any breakers, I'm just going to have to install this and chance it, then maybe that works out for you. But that's just something else you can do. Okay, so that's it. Those are all the 3 new cards we're dealing with at Runner here. But before we move on, we'll just have a quick look at the rest of the deck.
Sure.
So, as I mentioned earlier, the more cards you are accessing in HQ or R&D, the more value you're getting from Zaya. So we have we have not just one as usual. We have 2 Docklands passes.
Yep.
So that we can find that HQ pressure early, and hopefully then be getting 2 credits of value out of every run we make on HQ. We have 3 jailbreaks like we've had before, because every time we see 2 cards with jailbreak, that means that we're going to get more value of the Desire. And, as we saw in the booster deck, I think it was, we have a conduit. So, if we're able to build up multiple runs on R&D, and the Corp doesn't want to purge, the amount of credits you can get from each run on R&D will keep going up and up and up and up. So that's a very useful card and a tactic to think about in this deck. You only have one of them because it's a 4 influence card, as you can see from the influence indicator in the bottom right corner.
Yep.
But once you find that and you slam it down, a really powerful weapon in this deck.
Very strong.
Whilst we're in the program section, we've talked about Marginar being
Pants.
A bad option because criminals are bad at fractors, but criminals are good at killers. So we've brought Carmen back that we saw in some of the earlier decks, and Carmen has decent numbers on it. A little expensive to install, but as we know, if you make that successful run first, it's cheaper to install, and that it's quite the numbers are decent for us to use on that.
Yeah.
Because we want to make more runs on those central servers to build up those Zaya tokens, we also want to be getting as much value as possible out of there, so we've slipped a leech in there. So if we can manage to get a leech down along with Carmen and Marginar and Unity, which is our decoder, then as well as getting our credits, we're building up our virus tokens, and that's making us more efficient to keep making those central runs. So there's some nice synergy to be found within those cards. Then, because we want to install Carbon and Conduit and Leech and Marginar and Unity, we might also want to have Tranquilizers. We might also want to have a Mayfly early doors until we find our other breakers. We need to have plenty of memory available to juggle all those programs around. So we've got the full 3 copies of T400 Memory Diamond.
Cool.
Which for each one, as we know, boosts our memory and boosts our hand size. And we've got 2 copies of Penny Shaver that we've seen before. But with 2 copies, you find it twice as fast, guaranteed, as having 1 copy, so that you can get that down in. And that's another MU that's available to you, because you don't want to be stuck short on MU whilst while you've got the programs in your hand. You want to get them down, you want to be running, you want to be aggressive.
Of course.
To support that aggressive behaviour, over in the resources, we've put a second copy or 2 copies of Red Team that we saw earlier. We only had 1 of those before, but if we can get 2 of those down, then obviously running on HQ or R&D can get us extra value as well as our Zaya ability. So that's another synergy.
Yep.
And finally, then the question is, well, we've got all those cards that seem to work nicely together. What else do we need? What can we spend money on? Well, we just take some of the staple cards, then we need to flesh out our deck. So we've got 2 copies of Verbal Plasticity to help us with drawing our cards.
Yep.
We've got 2 copies of Tread Lightly, because we know that's a pain to deal with.
That's so good.
It is.
And
if you use it correctly instead of on a tithe. On a goddamn tithe, Dave.
We've got no VRcations this time because we're hoping that we want to be spending more time running and less time drawing cards. So we've got 3 creative commissions in there as well.
Gotcha.
And obviously, each copy of Creative Commission being a Shaper card costs us 2 influence, which is a lot, but let's get them in there. It's good, easy money. We can focus on running, and then we can use Creative Commission on last click to boost our credits back up.
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay. Let's move over then to the corporation.
I'll be right back.
Jinteki, restoring humanity.
Yeah, so we'll start off with the ID. And I was just saying to Dave earlier, but I'll repeat for the benefits of everyone else and those on the stream, that a part of Jinteki's colour pie that I hadn't really thought about before was that gaining money through operations is not Jinteki's style. they do have operations that grant you credits, but they normally come with a drawback, and we'll look at that in a minute. However, to offset that, a lot of their IDs come with an economic ability to help you do what you're doing. So, and a very common popular identity in the standard car pool is called Polana Foods, which can give you a credit every turn.
Mm-hmm.
And very similar to that is Restoring Humanity. And that says that at the end of your turn, if there is a face-down card in archives, gain a credit. So, as we've seen many times, you're drawing up, you get to 6 cards in hand. Can't keep 6 cards in hand, normally. So you've got to throw one away. As that goes into your archives, face down, you then gain a credit for it. The runner can then go and run archives and turn all those cards face up, but at least that then has made them commit a run to go and do that, a click and a run to go and doing that. And if you've put ice in the way of archives, then they've had to spend money to stop you gaining money, which is a fair trade-off as well. And as we see as we'll go through some of these cards, that's not the only way that you can get cards into your archives.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Sharon's near the back, so we'll...
Ready.
Excellent.
You're an expert on Restoring Humanity there, Sharon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Sure thing.
So continuing that idea of throwing cards away into archives, we'll have a look next at Hansei Review. Or Hansei Review. I'm sure Sarah's going to correct me on my pronunciation again at some point.
I think you're
always, right. But I'm just going to make you feel awkward for a short while
before doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
Before I swoop in there and correct you.
Yeah.
So Hansei Review is an operation, a transaction, although we don't have any cards at this stage that care about it to be a transaction. And it's very simple. To start with, it says gain 10 credits. Spending 5 to gain 10, good trade-off. Same trade-off as you get with government subsidy. But because Wayland are a money corporation, they just get to gain 5 credits and be done with it. Jinteki comes with a cost, and that cost is, if you've got any cards in HQ, you've got to trash one of them, send it to your archives. Now, you've got 2 choices there. You either try and play with no cards in your HQ, therefore you don't have to trash anything to play this card, or you just accept that the cost of playing this card is trashing one, because when you do, at the end of your turn, it's going to gain you a credit because of your ID ability.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an obvious synergy there between the ID ability and the operation. Now, an obvious thing to say about all this is, yes, but if I'm constantly throwing cards into my archives, what if the runner goes in and checks them? What if they're cards I don't want to lose? Well, good news. Up until this point, cards of going into archives has been a one-way street, but not anymore. So we first of all look at Longevity Serum. This is an agenda. Limit 1 per deck. It's a 3/2, so similar to Above the Law that we saw in the Built to Last deck. And this one says, when you score this agenda, you can trash any number of your cards from HQ into your archives, and then you can shuffle up to 3 cards from archives into R&D. Now, the obvious effect of this is that you can get 3 cards that you'd like to play again back out of archives, back into your deck to give you the opportunity to play them again. The less obvious use of it is to help with a problem that Sharon and I have been talking about a lot. I'm right on cue. Sharon's going to say that is... She's lost for words, obviously.
She's currently chewing. This is perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
And chewing.
Unbelievable.
Okay. So the problem that we've been talking about a lot is, what if you get loads of agendas in HQ?
What
and
if you
you've
get
not
loads of agendas in HQ?
That was impeccable.
Yeah. What do you do about it? Well, one of the things you do about it is you throw them into archives, which you can do with this, trash any number of cards from HQ, and then you shuffle them back into R&D. You'll have to draw them again at some point, but they'll be out of your hand for now. That's tomorrow's problem.
Sure.
The other card that's even better for bringing cards from R&D, from archives, is Spin Doctor. And this is arguably the strongest, most influential card in all of System Gateway. So for players who have been around for a long time, we used to have a card called Jackson Howard. And Jackson Howard was referred to as our Lord and Saviour because he was the first card that allowed us to bring back things from archives, and it changed the game of Netrunner overnight. Mm-hmm. Jackson Howard was allowed to rotate out, unfortunately, a few years ago because he was probably too strong. He was definitely too strong in the grand scheme of things. So this is a slightly toned down reincarnation of him called Spin Doctor. And yes, the artwork does look like Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
It is indeed supposed to be Malcolm from the thick of it.
Incredible.
But let's look at what this card does. It is an asset, so you've got to install it in a server. And it says, when you res this asset, you must, not may, you must draw 2 cards. So don't forget that. Because it's easily done. That's a nice thing. That can get you 2 cards into your hand in a hurry. For many reasons you'd want to do that. But much more importantly is the second ability. You may remove this asset from the game, not spending a click, in any time you've got a paid ability window, to shuffle 2 cards from archives into R&D. So, let's say you've been using your Hansei reviews to chuck an agenda away into archives that you wasn't doing you any good right now. You didn't want the runner to be able to access, so you put it in archives out the way. You have a Spin Doctor on the table. They say, I'm going to go and have a look what that face down card is in archives. You can res the Spin Doctor, use the remove from game ability immediately, and shuffle up to 2 cards from archives back into R&D. So essentially now that run is doing nothing.
You can use this ability anytime the pass priority prompt comes up, right? I've got no more actions?
Yep.
Does resing happen at that speed as well?
Yep.
Which means you can wait for them to successfully run the archives and then stymie all of that plan right at the last minute.
Yep.
Or you could res the Spin Doctor halfway through the run in order to psych them out into thinking that you're just about to steal all of those cards back, and make them panic and stop the run early or misplay in some way. This is so good.
It's a good card.
This is so much fun. Okay, cool. Excellent.
Alright, so basically this could make someone have a wasted run.
It makes someone have a wasted run is like the worst possible outcome. The fact that it opens up to you archives to you as a temporary storage solution at the same time as being able to use your most important cards more than once, just completely changes the game. And this is the biggest game change that we've got left in System Gateway to get our heads around, and why I wanted to give you a chance to play with this tonight. This is a major difference between the starter and booster decks and the first decks we've looked at so far, and bringing this into the game. It's pretty much common belief now that every deck in Gateway, in Startup, in Standard has 3 copies of Spin Doctor in.
That's terrible. You give players who've never had the opportunity one small sniff of graveyard play, and suddenly it hits every deck. Yeah. It's fair enough, I guess. It is strong.
Okay, and then we've got one more card to look at on the theme of hiding stuff. And that is Sprint. And Sprint is an operation that vaguely has the same ability to Spin Doctor and Longevity Serum, except not as strong. So what that says very simply is, draw 3 cards, nice. You want to draw a card as quick as you can, most of the time. And then you can shuffle, or you must shuffle, 2 cards from HQ back into your R&D. So you start a game, you mulligan, you end up with 4 agendas and no pieces of ice, but you have a sprint in there. You can play that sprint, draw 3 pieces of ice, and shuffle 2 agendas back into R&D out the way. And suddenly you've turned a terrible start into a good one, or a better one at least. So it shapes and filters your hand and reduces the risk of agenda flood, as we call it, having all those agendas in your HQ and nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to look at a couple of pieces of ice, and these are the last new pieces of ice that we'll see. None of the cards we'll be looking at next week are ices.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one we're going to look at is Ansel 1.0. And you can see straight away that this is a purple card. It's a Bioroid card.
Finally, another
so
Bioroid.
That's probably reminding you of Bran
Mm-hmm.
that we looked at in the starter and booster decks. And the fact that it costs 6 to res is also reminiscent of that. The difference is this is a sentry and a destroyer rather than a barrier. So its subroutines are very different. It says, you may trash 1 installed runner card. You may install 1 card from HQ or archives out onto the board. And it says the runner cannot steal or trash any corp cards for the remainder of this run. So basically, if this fires, it upsets the runner in multiple ways. Doesn't end the run, but if the last subroutine is fired and they can't steal or trash anything, then there's little point to them getting through the run anyway. So it's a big, beefy sentry that can do some damage.
Yeah, that last one's really interesting, because you might choose to you can't spew clicks at it though. Okay, so let's say you run on the first click, right, of your turn, and you decide to spank 2 clicks on destroying those breaking those subs up top, and you let the last one fly because you mostly want to check that you're not running into something horrible at the end. It's not going to stop an Urtica Cypher from spanking you for having a look at it, which is
Nope.
that's still the downside of that. And
it
when
doesn't
you do
prevent you from accessing, it only prevents you from stealing or trashing.
Yeah. which means that you might then want to, or wish you'd trashed, and have enough cash to make another run. And now you've made your decision that it's worth going through. But by that point, you've spent a lot of resources anyway. It basically might as well say end the run, right? It's just it allows a little bit of info to leak.
Yeah, it sure does.
Which doesn't sound as bad, but probably
so
is.
we've had this ability before, which is that the runner cannot steal if a certain subroutine fires.
Sure.
But people found a way of working around that because there are cards that don't want to steal on access; they want to trash on access.
Yep.
So now that ability has been expanded to say cannot steal or trash. You can just look at, bemoan your ability to do anything with it, and then put it back whence it came.
Or get slapped by whatever it is you're accessing.
Oh, that too, yeah. So yeah, it's basically a card you don't want to let fire, but you could say that about a lot of things. Okay, and then the other piece of ice we've not seen before is ping. Now, truth be told, ping does not belong in this deck. It doesn't really fit in with anything else that we're doing. It'll fit in with one of the other IDs that we're going to look at next week, but for reasons that will become clear next week,
sure.
I just wanted to get it into a deck now and show you what it does.
Okay.
So, it's a barrier, it's cheap, just 2 to res, but that's reflected in its 1 strength. But what this ice does is something similar to Funhouse, but even better. When you res this ice during a run against this server, give the runner 1 tag. Not give the runner 1 tag and they can, or they've got the choice to jack out. They are getting a tag when you res ping.
Yep.
So, I mean, that can be very handy in other decks.
Yeah.
It could be handy in this deck if someone makes a run against a server on the last click and you res this and it surprisingly it makes them end their turn on with a click, with a tag. But this deck isn't really about tagging, so it's a little bit out of place, admittedly.
Do you have anyone who could who reacts to? You don't have anyone who reacts to tags in this, do you? Any operations to beat people up, that sort of shenanigans?
There's no retribution. There's no planograms. This is a...
Yeah.
The only thing you'd be able to do with that tag is trash a resource.
Sure. Okay. It's still pretty funny. Yeah.
So you've got some new ices there for protecting the server. But the biggest thing you've got for protecting the server is one of the strongest cards that's in Netrunner at the moment, and that is Anoetic Void. Anoetic Void is an upgrade in the same family of Amaze Amusements and Malapert Vault and Skunkworks. But this is a defensive upgrade, and it says 0 to res. Whenever the runner approaches this server, you may pay 2 credits and trash 2 cards out of your HQ, and if you do, end the run. That's not up for debate. That's not make the runner pay 5 credits, or make the runner pay 2 clicks, or make the runner take 2 tags. That is, you ain't coming in, son. Thanks for trying.
Paid your price, now get out of it.
So you've paid however many credits you have during that run to get past your Palisades and get past your Ansels and your Pings, and then you just res this at the end and say, nope, afraid not. Yeah, and you don't even get to access this card to trash this card because the run ends before you get to the access phase.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
It is crazy strong. Crazy strong.
I mean, I like that it's cheap to trash if you do access it, because at that point the corp has made a decision that it's not that important, and that the resource itself, the upgrade itself, is probably done its business already. So it shouldn't be too much to get rid of. That's good, but still, you're never getting through it unless they run out of cards. Unlikely, and run out of money. Also for the corp, fairly unlikely.
That's the limiting factor, right?
Sure.
Under normal circumstances, the corp only has 5 cards in hand. So, if you could afford to run a server 3 times in a turn,
yeah,
they can only throw 4 cards out, and then they'll run out of cards.
Yeah, and you're probably going to have the spare credit to trash the thing finally at the end.
Yeah.
So do you get to choose which cards you trash?
The corp chooses which cards they trash, yes.
Yeah.
And obviously then, as we said earlier, if you've got a spin doctor on the board, you can just get those cards back. If you score a longevity serum behind an Anoetic Void, you just get those cards back.
And actually, in the case of Restoring Humanity, it might be nice to have some face downs in the archives.
Because we also get a credit back.
Because we get money for it, yep.
So there's synergy there as well.
Yeah. Grim.
So I think I'll do a quick check of my
Neurospike is the last one that I haven't seen.
Well, let's say I'll save Neurospike for my big finish.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I misheard you, and I thought you said Neurospite, and I thought that's fitting.
It's fairly close by the looks of it.
So what I've done with this deck is design it with a fairly nasty game plan in mind. So, obviously, you can win the game by scoring your agendas, just like you can any other time. What we saw in the last game was Dave winning the game by killing the runner. And what we've talked about when the last deck is whether playing this game of, is it an Urtica Cipher or is it a clearinghouse? Well, in this deck, we have 2 clearinghouses and 2 Urtica Ciphers. So just because you've been able to find one and get rid of one, it doesn't mean that that threat is completely off the table now. Mm-hmm. Not to mention that you can bring those cards back if you want to as well. But we also have the added threat now that if, for example, you wanted to send a message up to 5 advancement counters so that it looks like a clearinghouse,
mm-hmm.
and the runner says, well, I've got 5 cards in hand, I'm not going to run and trash that yet. I'm going to wait another turn and build up my credits and build up my cards. Then it turns out that it was a send a message rather than a clearinghouse, which means you have just scored 3 points. Obviously, we know this. And then you play Neurospike.
Wow.
And Neurospike says, do X damage, where X is equal to the agenda points you've scored this turn. So if you score a send a message after 1 click,
yep.
and then you play 2 Neurospikes, that's 6 damage, which is more than most runners can deal with. If your send a message is already on 5 advancements, you don't need to advance it at all at the start of your turn. You can just score it and then play 3 Neurospikes, and that's 9 damage that no runners can survive.
Sure. Wow.
Now, in the grand scheme of things, I think Neurospike is a dumb card. I don't think that being able to just throw vast amounts of damage across the table is necessarily good for the game.
Wrong.
But we can only play with the cards that we are dealt. And Neurospike is very much a win condition all of its own. So now what this deck is trying to do is obviously it's got to protect its centrals, but then over in the remote server, you've got this game of, am I advancing an Urtica Cipher or a clearinghouse or an agenda? And not only do you have to guess which one is right, you've got to get in past an anoetic void to check it.
This seems really mean. This deck seems a little bit spiteful.
It certainly can be. Now, the trade-off for all of that, to be able to fit all those traps in, and all those neurospikes in, and all those anoetic voids in, is that we've only got 13 pieces of ice, which is fewer than we've had in some of the other decks, and the ice isn't as taxing as we've seen in some of the other decks, because we simply don't have the influence points or the money that will allow us to pay for big things like Pharoses. But we've got still some stuff there which will make it tricky and difficult for the runner. And similarly, the agenda suite isn't as balanced. So in the other games, we've had lots of the 4-2s and the 3-1s. In this set, we've got 3 sender messages, which is a little bit ropey. Losing 2 of them puts you on match point.
It's sort of daft when the most expensive piece of ice is that 6. I don't know. 3 Karunas maybe makes the sender messages worth it.
It's not ideal. No. Don't get me wrong. If we were in standard, this deck would have a card called Obakata Protocol in it, and then you'd all be crying.
Right.
But we've got 3 sender messages. We've got 3 off-world offices in to try and help with the money. And then 1 longevity serum, because you're only allowed 1. And all that together put us on 17 agenda points. So we stuck a superconducting hub into it just to make it legal.
Of course. And card draw seems to be pretty helpful in this anyway. Like if you're throwing cards away to Anoetic Void, then scoring a superconducting hub gives you 1 free Anoetic, for a couple of creds, and that's it.
So I don't think this is a weak agenda suite, but it is not as fluid an agenda suite as some of the decks we've been playing with this far. You could get into an awkward situation where you land yourself on 6 points, and then you've got 2 sender messages in hand, and it's like, well, I don't want to score these right now, but then that's just what you have to deal with.
If every single time you draw an agenda, you're throwing it in your heavily defended archives, so that maybe at some point you can pick and choose the ones that you want back out again in your woefully low deck now, smooth yourself into agenda heaven, crack out a couple of big ones, and then blast your runner, you might get lucky at the end of the game.
When you score an agenda, it doesn't go into your archives.
No, but when you throw it away, it does.
Yeah. Sorry, I misheard you.
When you chuck it away to hide it from the runner for a bit. Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
And that completes the end of today's deck list. So we've got a quite strong synergistic runner, and we've got an absolutely horrible to play against Scorp. And we'll see how these two go against each other in the time we've got left.
Fantastic.
To the games.
Fingers crossed.
To the games.
To the games.
Right, so I'm runner this time, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to be, unless you want to be Das Corporation.
I feel like I'll probably be fairly similarly successful / unsuccessful with either.
Did I successfully start a game, or did that just fail?
Failed.
Have a look. Okay.
Much like you may during this.
Whoa! I mean, I forgot to change the system gateway for a start. Right, okay. I'm going to refresh that. We'll try that again, okay? Quick. Let's see. Yep, there we go.
There you are.
There we go. Right. Are you ready to get absolutely laid into?
So I've named my episode 4 deck Tasha Yar.
Excellent.
Just because in the 4th episode of the first series of Star Trek The Next Generation, Tasha Yar was abducted because a guy wanted to make her his wife, essentially, and then she played him using the woman who was expecting to be made his wife to basically dethrone him, get someone else in, and save the day.
Seems perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. It's called Code of Honor. Love it. And it's all around vaccines as well. So
if we can't force lots of Star Trek Next Generation references in, what's even the point?
What are we even doing? What are we even doing? Right. Okay. So, start the game. Hanso review.
For an immediate trash.
Kill this. Then.
That is an immediate trash, Sharon, you're right.
Yep.
Because it also gets his turns on his ability right from the get-go.
Turns on his ability right from the get-go.
Yeah, so my ability on my ID says after my discard phase, if there are any face-down cards in archives, gain a cred.
Nice.
So I've already begun the process. Then
added a credit to you yet?
Then because I'm rich as all hell, let's do it this way round. You ready?
Oh, nice.
Like this. End the turn. Sharon, you go.
Wow, that is an invite.
Isn't it just?
It's a trap.
It's a trap! Or is it a trap? I mean, last time it was a trap, but is it a trap this time? Considering the number of traps I have in the deck. Or am I now double bluffing? Am I quadruple bluffing? Do I know what a bluff is anymore? No. No, I don't. Just really hoping this works out.
What works out, Dave? Do you want me to run? Do you want me not to run? I don't have any ice.
It could be either. I'm not sure I know.
I want somebody to take a click, if possible.
Sharon,
I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sharing my thinking process with you.
Okay.
This could have been well stupid. Or it could have been a work of genius. Who knows?
I mean, you only have 2 cards in your HQ.
I do. Which one of them is the agenda? Who knows? Are either of them an agenda? Do I own an agenda? Have I drawn one yet, or are they all in this open R&D over here? Sorry, this is an obnoxious...
Don't forget your idea ability, Sharon.
Yeah. This is an absolutely...
my idea ability. Whenever a run on HQ R&D ends, you may gain 1 credit for each time you accessed a card. Correct. Well, I mean, so let's crack on, R&D.
Kick off. No further actions.
Yes. That was the correct choice. So on that 1 click there, you have drawn a card, gained 2 credits, and got rid of one of Dave's anoetics. Seems pretty good.
That anoetic is gutting. I'll be honest with you.
You out. 1 click. Boom.
Sure
done.
enough.
Let's get some money in.
Sure enough. Right, start my turn.
I should have gone for server 1 though.
Get some dosh out. Draw a card because I have to draw a card.
Oh, but if you've not...
you're gonna get so much flipping money. So much flipping money from that. Okay.
Well, I mean, I only got 2 credits from that, Dave. It wasn't like...
No, but you're already getting strong dosh, Sharon. Strong dosh. There we go. Okay, I need a quick... Anyway, you don't know what could be on that server. It might be something I want to advance.
Why you wouldn't already advance it then? Am I allowed to ask hints? Ooh. Am I allowed to ask hints from the chat?
No, because they can see Dave's cards.
That's why I would ask for hints from the chat.
That isn't hint, Sharon. That's cheating.
Fine.
You're allowed to pontificate for the chat to interact with you, but no, not ask them what card it is in the server.
Dave can't hear us at the moment, can he?
I don't know.
Dave absolutely can hear you. What makes you think that Dave doesn't have microphones and speakers all through his house? On his head.
Because you just ran off.
We've all got to a bloot, Sharon.
I am struggling because I don't know what to do with my cards.
I'm really glad you're struggling because I misplayed right from the moment when I didn't take a mulligan. Up until this point, I haven't made a correct play yet. So let's see how we deal with this.
So that's an unsell. It will cost you 6 credits to break it with Mayfly, or it will have repercussions.
I think I want to break it with Mayfly, really. That's the...
Or I suppose you could click through 2 of them if you wanted to. But that's...
But then it would still cost me 6 to break through the last one, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm into that, so let's break it. Let's be credit poor. Swear to God, Dave.
Nothing new there, is there?
Hey, thank you, Mark. Oh, no. This lets you res something. Oh.
It does. But I didn't have very much to res.
It's only saved him 2 credits, that's...
Yeah. It wasn't that much. Okay.
It's in your HQ and we'll talk about the best way to play them.
So, I'm going to draw. Oh.
I was a bit those physical cards had sold out.
They'd sold out the sets.
Yeah, that's what Mark was saying last time.
Did I get the last 2 then? Oh, you mean the older sets?
The old ones.
Yeah. It is a shame. But
you can
always get them printed. Yeah, I bought the System Gateway and the Startup, the booster set and the regular. Which was cool. Although if I find some way to make cards, there's got to be some way to make cards. I can start doing alt art shenanigans and all sorts, right? Full art cards. Just, yeah. Is there a Mark? Is there a guideline as to how to create physical cards that are tournament play legal? Considering most of the cards are sort of printed by the players themselves.
To my knowledge, no. So the proxying advice is you print them out on paper and you just put them in front of an existing card. And you can use it. Existing cards can be Netrunner cards, but can also be magic lands or anything else that's in plentiful supply.
Gotcha.
I don't know if there's any official advice on if you were to get these cards printed as cards yourself from Nisei, but I think someone somewhere will be able to advise on that.
Sure.
Because I know some people in countries where make playing cards don't have good shipping rates, or for some reason don't want to use make playing cards, they have taken the designs to a print shop and given them their instructions. So there must be some level of information available.
Cool. I might have to look up
quickly. Which card breaks sentry cards?
That's
killers.
Your killer, which in your case is Carmen.
Sugar, I need more money.
Well, don't forget that Carmen is cheaper to install after you've made a run, if you want to do that.
Oh.
So much trashable stuff. Oops, what just happened there? Oh, did you choose to trash my regolith?
Did.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I had the option.
You know, for someone complaining about money.
So, what you just to hammer home the point, though, you chose to trash the regolith, which is entirely fine.
Yeah.
But you ran HQ. You learned something about what was in Dave's hand. You gained a credit from Zaya, and then you're able to install Carmen for cheaper. So again, that synergy between cards or between criminal cards, they're designed to work together.
Yeah.
Cute. I really thought you were about to tell me off for something I'd done there, Mark.
Oh, never, Jane.
Right, righty-tighty. So I've got 3 credits. How much would it take to trash this Ansel? Sentry, you're on 4. I'm on 2. 2 credits to increase strength, so that would be... I don't have enough, do I?
I don't think you're getting anywhere near taking him out.
I just don't have enough.
Yeah.
Let's, oh, for goodness sake.
Carmen Woodcock takes
Take
6 credits to break and sell.
Yeah, and I have 3. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. There we go. I drew equal, and I saved myself 2 whole credits.
You could send a message.
I want more Ansels.
Bet you do.
Yeah, to target with the sender messages. Wow. Just yeah, pick up another answer, why don't you? Cool. Cool. Okay, I think I've got one play here.
Ave, how much do you want to put in there?
To stop shenanigans occurring. Mark! Oh, he's gone. I made it happen. I did exactly what I'd said I'd do. I went hellbent. Or whatever the equivalent is in Netrunner. I've run my HQ out of cards entirely.
Because that's the only thing I could run, really, yeah?
Because you were gaining money from running HQ for every card that you accessed. Well, now there's no cards to access in HQ. So if you do run an undefended HQ, you get nothing out of it, money-wise. I mean, you still get whatever the bonuses that you have down on any viruses or anything like that, but fortunately, that's nothing right now, which means your only option is really to run to run what's it? R&D if you want. Is it any central server? Yeah, R&D if you want the cache.
I've got something that breaks the code gate.
Sure.
And I could get lucky.
Yeah, you might get lucky on the R&D.
3.
But it means that R&D is your only option.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is R&D my only option? Why wouldn't I go for server 2 or server 1?
Oh, you could go for server 2 or server 1, of course. Yeah. But it's R&D is your only option for using your ID's ability. Like, so server 1 and server 2 don't net you cash for accessing the card at the end of it.
Yeah, and I can't afford that anyway because it cost me 6 to get through Ansel.
Or clicks, yeah, or clicks. Although 1, 2, 3, it would take you 2 clicks, so you'd have to break one piece of Ansel, which would be 1, 2, 3. That would cost you 3 credits.
Then you've got 2 other goddamn cards, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to be manipulated by you, Dave. Let's just go for R&D.
I'm okay with this. Sure. Make your decisions.
Code gate.
Oh, you could let the routine on this, if you want to save money, you could let the subroutine on this fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would be, because otherwise 1, 2, you can't actually afford to get past this, because you're not going to be able to match the strength before code breaking. You've got 2 credits. This is a strength 3, which means that in order to break it, fully break it, you need to spend 3 credits, right?
Damn it.
But
I've
you can do is just let it do you a damage. There is a danger that it ends the run, but it's not guaranteed. But
Dave,
trash card.
It's guaranteed.
Okay, should we fire the subroutine then?
It's fucking guaranteed.
Sorry, what if I missed?
I didn't realise I needed 3 credits, not 2, so I've made a run, and all it will do is damage me. There is literally nothing positive, no chance even.
Do you want to check your maths again before you let it fire?
Well, Dave just told me it would take 3.
Yeah, it's like, so it takes 3 with the code gates. It's +1 for each installed code breaker, icebreaker. So it's in fact 1 for 2. No.
Yes, indeed.
1 for 2. Yeah, so it would be 2. It would be in fact exactly 2 credits. Oh gosh. Oh, Unity's stronger than I thought it was. Yeah, sorry, I misread Unity. But
yeah, that's the sneaky one.
No further actions. Oh, come on!
Rip!
Come on! Mark, why'd you put all these flipping agendas in?
Dave, trying to keep me up.
Yeah, gosh.
The ultimate insult of stealing an agenda and getting the Zaya credit for it.
Oh, sure enough. And still having clicks left. Busted.
Is even the point of the Marinar card program?
It's your only option.
Is there anything that it's...
Is it your only option for barriers? It's your only
it's
option.
It's your only criminal fractor.
Oh, so, wow. Okay.
In a different deck within System Gateway, we may have chosen to sacrifice some of the money that we're getting from the Shaper cards and instead play Buzzsaw, for example. And that might be a better deck. I'm not going to dispute that. As I said in the introduction, we're playing Marjanar to prove that it exists, not because it's good.
Go for the runner. Wait, it's your go now, isn't it, Dave?
Yep. This is so risky. This is so risky.
Why was that risky? You've just scored a card.
Yeah, it was a stupid time to score it, I think.
Why?
Because I've got
you have...
pew-pews. And if I don't have a pew-pew in hand, I can't attack you with it. So I could have left it there. And also, my HQ is open, and it's promoted for you to run it. Which means that if I draw an agenda off the back of that, because it gives you 2 card draw, there's one in my hand, whereas I knew up until that point that I was safe. Whereas at that point, if I choose to draw those 2 cards, I no longer know if I'm safe. However, if I draw that into my HQ, I at least know it's not in R&D for you to find immediately, which just depresses me twice as much. If I find one.
The pre-mind games explanation there, Dave, was excellent.
It's yeah.
Well,
I just got to pray.
HQ over and over again, because that gets me 1 credit each time.
No, it does not. It does not get you 1 credit each time unless you've got something that gives you 1 credit each time.
But you've got cards in it, so every time I access a card, I get a credit, right?
No, Zaya only happens once per turn, and you have to choose which time.
May as well be this time, though.
But may as well be this time. And there's the easy. That was the one flipping card. Yup. I knew when I scored that agenda that I'd made a mistake. That was absolutely a misplay. Nice work. Good job. Good work.
But why? Why was it a mistake to score that agenda?
I should have left it, and I should have scored it for free at the start of my next turn when I could do something about the cards that I drew. So scoring it at the end of my turn, I couldn't defend my HQ. And in fact, I couldn't really defend my HQ anyway. I decided to go hellbent on it.
Did you not have any ice cards then?
No, everything that I've got out, and I tried to defend my server 1 in order to defend the sender message. And that was, after that, I had 2 pieces of ice. And yeah, they were both medium pants, so it wouldn't have put you off. Yeah, well played though.
Cool.
So that just shows that even though in the brief we're all talking, well, the toys are in the Jinteki deck. There's no doubt about that.
For sure.
But the efficiency of Zaya just saying, "Sure, I'll have a look. Oh, and I'll have a credit. And I'll sneak an agenda. Or I'll trash that card you wanted." It should not be underestimated, even though it's a more subtle effect.
Absolutely. If the runner gets in there quick, the Jinteki deck feels a little turtly. Like it's a bit of a durdler, where if you allow it to carry on unmolested, it's going to hurt a lot later on. And the Zaya deck seems pretty up for smashing right from the gate.
So what I'm hoping for in this matchup, and I think you've seen a little bit of that already, is that exactly as you've just described, the Jinteki deck has a lot of toys to play with once it can get in a position to use them, which is countered by the Zaya deck being all about aggression.
Of course. Yeah, it seems like a rock paper scissors kind of situation where the Jinteki deck switches which one it is about 3/4 of the way through the game, or maybe halfway. We haven't seen it, where it just decides, you know what, I'm fed up of getting shredded by these dang scissors. Now I'm the rock. But yeah, it's cool. It will be interesting to see the Jinteki deck get going. I think. Sharon, do you want another one? The other way? You're muted.
I do, but it won't let me join with our regular password.
Oh.
No, not me.
Oh, did I accidentally put the wrong password in?
I think you typed in your PIN number instead.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they are the same, so... That would be that would be still.
That's only funny if you know what our regular password is.
Yeah.
Which is both plausible and not quite plausible at the same time.
It would be
Sorry, I joined
believable.
in.
It would be believable. Okay, you should be able to join now.
Very excited.
Here we go.
Ah,
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Never.
Ooh.
Never ready. The very opposite of the batteries.
Showing me the cards yet? Ah, there we go. I think I shall keep this.
Pop a
I
pea
think.
shoot.
Double think, triple think.
You've got a very interesting hand there, Dave. I'm interested to
Yeah.
see what you do with it.
Your ability doesn't
You know what?
cover archives, does
Carpe the DM, right? Sometimes you just have to carpe the DM. I should have mulliganed.
Did you feel forced into keeping the hand because of Mark?
No.
I said it was interesting.
Yeah, I was probably going to keep it incorrectly
You've got
anyway.
You've got a lot of synergies going on there if you have the opportunity to use them.
Yeah. It's It's almost too pricey right from the get-go for the synergies to kick off properly.
Oh, for goodness sake! I didn't mean to draw a card.
Do you want to undo your click?
Please. I'll get it next time, whether I like it or not. Sorry about that, Dave.
Sure.
Oh, wait, I was on 5. Do you know what? There we go.
Okay.
Done. I'll live with that mistake. I'll live with the mistake. What can you say?
That's fair enough.
I thought you were going to say then for a second, no, actually, drawing a card is the right thing to do. But
I wanted monies. I wanted all the monies. Because I like monies.
Mm-hmm. Right. One of those. One of those. One of those. Thanks.
Come on. Penny shaver.
Hey!
I get a penny shaver card come out.
Who doesn't love cash?
Ridiculous.
Then it's the end of my turn, and now it's yours. Okay. I kind of feel like already this whole set of shenanigans that you got going on here with, what do you call those? Ice? I don't remember those from last game, so they're new to me. And what is this? A regolith and clicks to actually use it? I don't get it. What's going on here? That means that you'll have cash money coming in. Yeah.
I should not have drawn the last turn, because that meant this turn I ended up getting 6 cards in my hand. So in my hand. So I had to use a card. Instead of not having to use a card.
Whatever you need to tell yourself to sleep at night, Sharon, is fine by me. If that's how you want to play it, then that's just fine. Bring it on. I can go like this all day. I'm not doing too well here, so I'm slowly falling apart. That's the truth of it. I don't know. Do I want to stop you getting 9 whole monies? Yes! Yes, I do! Does that mean that I want... You know what?
I took as much as I could
back of this.
before...
Get that. Access the server. trash it. Pay 3 to
Use
trash.
an overclock on that.
Off of that. Yep. Well, look at my cash money. Yeah, my cash money.
Oh.
It's not great, but the order of this, Sharon, was rubbish. It was rubbish. It's HQ and R&D. I thought it was a central server on her ID. I thought I was getting away with shenanigans there.
But you do now have another credit on Penny Shaver.
Yeah.
Penny Shaver every server, of course. It's just a successful run.
It's brilliant. It's just successful runs, though. It's not even...
Well, until Sharon's able to protect archives, if she wishes to, you can run that server for a credit and a leech counter.
And that's what I just did. Yep.
Well, not quite a credit. It's like some proportion of a credit up to the point of trending towards infinity or whatever.
It is technically a credit, limit infinite. It is technically a credit. However, it is not a credit, really.
If
math is hard.
3 cards.
If who? With the what cards? Sorry, Sharon?
I'm just trying to work out the maths.
Oh, pop a pea shoot. Okay, sure.
Kind of need to ask Master. Oh, well.
Ask away.
Pop you there. There we go. Now I don't have to discard.
I wonder what that could be.
Spend any money.
Are you sure about that, Sharon? I mean, it's a perfectly valid move, but don't forget your ID ability. If you throw away a card, you'll turn that on and you'll start getting a free credit every turn. But if you're happy with your choices, that's fine.
I'll wait until next turn.
Okay.
What's a credit except for winning the game?
Sure.
No, victory points are needed for the game, or agenda points, not credits.
Credits, no movement.
I've seen players with over 100 credits lose a game.
Have you ever seen a player with 0 credits win a game?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's like achievement unlock type thing. So one's a Stim Hack Slack, which anyone is welcome to join should they wish to. I will put a link in the show notes. Is that what I think people say?
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
There is a channel there called Out of Context JNet, and what people post in there is wacky things that happen when they're playing on GenTechie.net, with no context allowed, otherwise the context police get involved. And one of the things that people like to post there is like an achievement unlocked, is when you win a game with 0 credits left, 0 clicks left, 17 tags taken, but you win. So it's
sure.
And I can assure you it is very pleasing to be able to do such a thing. Whether it be through excellent calculations or pure luck.
Question. Can I trash an ice card if I have not rezzed it?
In the same way as when you're installing any other piece of ice, you may, whilst you're installing on that server, you can throw another one away on that server.
I wanted to, I could trash that ice with that delicious tranquilizer card on it.
Yes.
And his tranquilizer card would get trashed as well. Now, if it's trashed, does it go back into your heap?
It goes
Dave,
into my heap.
And then you have the opportunity to rejuvenate it.
I'm not the rejuvenator. That's you.
Got it.
At the moment, there is in I think I'm right in saying all of System Gateway, there is no way for runners to get cards back.
Are you not resing that? Gotcha. Well, let's have a look at the unraised. Let's trash that. Gotcha.
Why? Why, Dave? Why?
And then that. Because this is worth doing. That was groovy. I'm surprised you didn't just end my run and tell me to go bite myself with the 2 from your HQ and 2 credits.
I don't understand what you're talking about, Dave.
You didn't use the anoetic void to stop my run.
I didn't have the anoetic void. That was an R&D.
That was what I ran.
On R&D where you installed it.
Yeah, I ran R&D. Did it give you any prompts?
No.
It doesn't give you a specific prompt for an upgrade. An upgrade you can choose to res or not in a paid ability window.
Oh, because it wasn't resed, it doesn't trigger itself automatically. You've got to res it first. Sharon, would you like me to take that back so you can have the opportunity to res it?
I mean, absolutely, if you're willing to do that.
Yeah, of course. Well, neither of us have ever used the card before, so...
Okay. So Dave's going to run R&D.
Ha! Is he? Ha!
Sorry,
No!
you know what,
Yeah, of course I am.
I was stuck on you asking why I hadn't resed the ice. That's what I thought you were talking about.
No, I was uncertain as to why you hadn't done a resed the ice or the but which was fine. I was confused about that, but then I was also confused as to why you let me just trash the.
Now at this point,
anoetic.
If you want to use anoetic, you have to use it. Because if it gets to the accessing server point, it's too late.
Yep.
So I don't want to res my ice because there's no point because of Dave's tranquilizer card.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to res the anoetic void even if Dave can trash it.
So go ahead.
So when do I res it? Now?
No. Before you click continue, let him past, you have to res it, and then as he approaches it, you should now get a prompt to say, do you want to pay 2 credits and trash 2 cards?
Which is a yes.
A dick.
And now you've got to pick 2 cards to let me flop that up there. And they go face down in archives as well, which means that I have to access archives more in order to switch off the Jinteki natural ability there. Cool. And that's the end of my turn, and I don't get my credit. Sad times. Absolute penny pinching corporation. Typical. Typical. Can't let the little guy win. Ridiculous. Well.
I got a credit. Get a credit. Did I get a credit from my ID?
You get it at the start of Dave's turn, if you see. It ends your turn and then says restoring humanity, because that's when it.
Oh,
that's not technically correct. That's just how Jinteki interprets it.
Oh,
I mean, it's close enough.
I'd misinterpreted tranquilizer. Oh, it's even worse, isn't it? I thought it was every 3 turns it's going to switch off a piece of ice. It's not. It just takes 2 turns to boot up, and then every turn it switches off the piece of ice.
Correct.
Oh, that's horrible. What an absolute douche move. I feel really bad now. That's sort of mean. I mean, I'm still going to run R&D, obviously.
Purge. Yeah, because if I purge, then all the counters are removed and you have to build up again over 2 or 3 turns.
Yes.
This is true.
Yep. Which gives you 2 turns of leeway. I'm approaching.
I guess it's only 2, isn't it? There we go.
Oh. 2-1 net damage.
Well, if you're going to purge next turn, it's entirely up to you. That is the correct time to res it. Because it won't de-res now until the start of Dave's next turn, and you may have purged by then.
I mean, I don't want to project what I'm about to do, Dave.
That is fine. Money!
It's good to use that card, isn't it?
Right, so first things first, let's trash the Anoetic Void. Oh.
Oh. Oh no, we know you were going to do that. That's...
No to that. What did I...
Excited, Dave.
Oh, no.
Excited.
Oh, it clicked through and I didn't get to see what card, but it's unimportant anyway because I didn't get a chance to trash it. Right. And
no, you did. You did, Dave. Check the log.
It says you access an unseen card.
And then...
But you could see it.
Oh! Oh! Oh, I just assumed there was a Jinteki error, and I'd had to do the same action twice. I just made the assumption that everything had gone off in a wacky order. I did not realise that was the shenanigans, the absolute shenanigans that was occurring.
You have trashed both of my Anoetic Voids.
That's a code gate.
How very dare you!
It's a code gate. That's a code gate. Okay.
Wait, what are you talking about?
That's a code gate. You've got a code gate there. That diviner is a code gate. I don't like.
Are we all clear what type of ice?
Do you know what that is that you've got there? What you've got there is a code gate. What I forgot there was that my Mayfly was being trashed this program, and so I forgot to use my my gain 1 for each card I accessed during the run, which I should have done then.
With an auto prompt.
Yeah, but I clicked no on it because
just click add the credit if you want it, and then don't use it.
It should be 2 credits because I accessed 2 cards.
Did you?
Yes,
I accessed accessing the
1 from R&D
upgrade.
and I accessed the upgrade to trash it, so it was 2.
Upgrades do unfortunately count, yes.
And then
very nice that.
Yeah, which then gain a credit. Stick that out.
Ew. Carmen.
Yeah, Carmen. Now,
is she still with us?
Do I take an absolute punt?
Good, I can hear her speak, but she's on mute.
I'm going to take a punt. Here we go. Let's have a look at what you got protecting this. Say a little prayer.
Otherwise, I'd slag you both off for your pool play.
Take a punt. Hope it's a sentry. It is a sentry!
Sentry!
Oh, okay. Cool. Excellent. And now pray that I get your last. Come on. Yes! What a thief! What absolute thievery. Now you get to res an ice for free. Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, that tells me right, and I'm choosing no for this because I've already used the ability.
Yeah, very cheeky.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sure. That's very telling that you used send a message to only gain 2 creds worth. At least I know you haven't got Bron 1.0. I can't remember his. I know he's the 1.0. Brian 1.0.
Alan.
Alan.
What's his name?
Alan 1.0.
Alan.
Oh.
It's, Ansel is what it's actually
Ansel,
called.
that's
Alan, close enough.
Alan.
Brian and Alan.
Brian and Alan. The Bioroid boys. Okay, so that was 2 credit gains and 1 to Advanced Server 2. Okay, so there are 5 Advanced Server duffers, and I've got a really low number of cards in hand. I've been playing like a douche canoe, considering I know
got 1 credit.
What sort of cards I could be facing. So I should probably begin. Oh no. Yeah, by. Oh, interesting. Defending.
Did you note that your tranquilizer
had done its job?
Sent it to sleep again.
Yeah. Which it was. So previously, it was something that I wouldn't be able to break. However, the cost of it, I can't remember how much it was. Was it a diviner? It was a diviner, wasn't it? Yep. Protecting R&D. So it costs 2, and it only has like a 50-50. If you trash a card with a printed player install cost, that is an odd number. Now, Mark, does the number 0 count as an odd number or even in this? Or does it count as a number?
I'm glad you asked that, Dave. 0 is not odd.
0 is not a number. That's okay, but sure. 0 is not odd. Which means if I used that to plough through, and I ended up facing the other, which is 2 credits worth, which is quite pricey for Sharon at the moment. There would be a greater than... yeah. Okay, I would have a chance of facing off again, of getting through. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
What? Where do you want to face off?
However...
What are you trying to do?
Hang on.
He's thinking about his entire life before he makes a run.
Oh my god, it really is.
Excuse me. I was thinking about going full on mullet the other day. Like really short
like
cropped sides,
mullet.
but just let the top and back grow. What do you think?
Mullets are ridiculous.
Stop your neck getting burnt.
It's true, they do stop your neck getting burnt.
Sure about this, Dave?
1 credit. I think so. I think I only need 1 credit, right? Because I can handle currently 2 damage.
Oh, that's how we're playing it.
Yeah, like, I really like these cards in my hand. They're cool, but whatever. Like, I'd rather look at what cards are in Sharon's hand. And then gain money.
Just don't do it, Dave. Don't. Just don't. Just don't run HQ.
Okay,
I don't think you should.
Pop that down. Break 1. Let's break that one, and then I'll let unbroken subroutines fire. Fire away, Sharon. Yep, sure. Yep, I'm actually okay with that. Cool. And then let me past. I want to see your HQ, please. Access the server. I cannot afford to get rid of that. No action. However, I access Diviner as well. No action. Yes, I want money. Cool.
If we were a proper YouTube channel, at this point I would ask the editor to replay that clip from earlier where Dave described himself as a douche canoe for keep running against this deck with no cards in hand, and then he goes face first into a Karuna.
Look, I knew the danger of the Karuna, right? That was the problem is, if Sharon's about to flip this bastard in server 2 and deal me 2 damage, I'm still safe.
Question, right?
Sure.
So Dave had 3 cards in his hand. He ran Karuna.
Yep.
He took the damage of 2, so that got rid of 2 cards. So he was down to 1 card in his hand. But now he's got 2 cards again. Was that because of...
He was running Jailbreak, which draws you a card if it's successful.
If successful, gain another card, draw 1 card, and access an additional card if you are successful. Yeah.
Got it.
So
do you know what? This whole time we've had Jailbreak in our decks the whole time since we first started, and I've only just tweaked that you access another card.
Ha! That's the point of Jailbreak, is to access the other card.
No, I mean you
but the draw another card.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, I wish I'd known that. That would have been so much more useful.
It's super handy.
Read the full card, Sharon.
Yep. And
Mark, you know how we are with reading.
That was why I spent a minute or two looking at all my cards going, I'm so overwhelmed by what could happen here, because I had to count the number of advancements that you have on that server are dangerous to me, because if that is the flip that crap and do that much damage card, then I can't, if I don't have that many cards in hand, I shouldn't do that action because it will kill me on the next turn. So now I'm sort of racing against it. I think if it's the 0-1, like I suspect.
I have a question, and I kind of want you to shut your ears, Dave. Can you do that? Has he done it?
He's taken his headphones off, yes.
So you know when I was playing Dave just the game before, and he scored an agenda, but then he was saying, I shouldn't have scored that agenda then because of something that he could do. Was that something that was related to the agenda itself, or related to his ID, or related to an asset that he'd... Not an asset, an upgrade? It was
related to the agenda itself.
Okay.
The agenda says, for Superconducting Hub, when you score this agenda, you may draw 2 cards. He decided to use that ability and drew 2 cards into his HQ, which was wide open. There was no ice on it. You had full access to it. He drew himself an agenda. You rightfully checked his HQ and caught him with an agenda in his pocket.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Can we get Dave back on?
Yeah, where do I wave to?
Dave! I can't see his face. I can only see like a sliver of his screen. Dave!
Hello! I'm back!
There we go.
With a vengeance.
Thank you, Dave.
Right.
I just needed
no
to understand the mechanics of something.
Gotcha. Oh, crap. Oh, globits. 4, right, okay, sure. That's a code gate. How marvellous. Okay. Sharon? Oh, I might have misplayed that. That's okay. Sharon, I think you're muted.
You should be able to hear me.
Yes, now I can hear you. There we go.
Why would I play that? How do I play that? Oh, god damn it. I should have paid more attention when Mark was explaining the cards to us.
It's almost like that's what that section's for.
Shut your mouth.
Oh, I see. I see. The Docklands Pass synergizes so well with Zarya that they just drew her on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
It's happened.
In fact, it's kind of named after her, sort of, because she's a smuggler.
I see.
And getting a pass into the Docklands area helps with smuggling activities.
6. Sharon, have a giggle. I'm absolutely humped here.
I think you should have a crack at running that one, Dave. I'm just going to try and close a prompt window, and I'll use the correct keyboard. No, it didn't work.
Damn it. Okay. Sure. What will be, will be. You've been tempting me for too long, but you're too pricey at the moment. Okay, it's your go. Which means if you flip that, and it's the zero cost trick card, I take a heck of a lot of damage.
So...
and I'm done.
I don't want to give too much away.
Oh, sure.
But,
Mark, don't do it.
Okay, so 6. It would have been...
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So it would have been scored...
Why did I put that one instead of... Yeah, no.
Do you want to undo?
Oh, god damn it. I feel like that's unfair and I should live with my mistakes, Dave.
No, we all make mistakes, Sharon. This is fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go for it. Like, you're still learning the game. It's only fair if you want to take something back and go, oh, I misread that.
If you want to do what I assume you want to do, you're going to have to do an undo turn, which is the same...
Oh, hell no!
terminology, but with turn rather than click.
Item.
And then to do undo turn, the opponent has to type the same thing in to approve it.
I mean, this is fascinating as a new sort of
Go on then. There
command.
You go. So now res your damned card and kill me with it. What a surprise! Yep. I had no way of getting through that code gate.
Do you know what happened? Do you know why I didn't do that initially? Because when I was looking at your grip, I saw, for some reason, you had 5 cards, but in my head, it showed me you having 6 cards. And I was like, there's no point me pressing it now because I won't be able to kill you. I'll just get rid of your cards.
Yeah. Oh, it's a surprise that the T400 memory diamond would have saved me there. After I so frivolously threw it away to get through that.
It would indeed, yeah.
Yeah. After I so frivolously threw it away to get to that
And what I was going to do is I was just going to super protect server 2 and build up the counters on it, because I could see you didn't have the
I could get through the code
programs to break.
So I could get through the code break as long as I had the code gate, as long as I had 9 credits. Right.
You couldn't get through the other cards that were.
But the other card that was in front of it, I assumed, and I assumed correctly, was not a sentry. I assume it was. It was not going to be broken by me particularly easily. Yeah.
But I was also just about to put another sentry out.
It was so good drawing all of my icebreakers this game. That was 2. 1 Mayfly, which went pretty early on, and then the Carmen, and that was all I had.
So one of the shortcomings in this runner deck, and I would like to claim it was deliberate, but I can't really swear to that, is that it doesn't have a great deal of draw in it. You've got verbal plasticity, of course, which is great if you can find it.
If you draw it, yeah.
And then you have jailbreak, which gets you an extra card, but obviously that's very limited. And then you have 1 mutual favour.
Yeah.
So you've got to use your programs a little bit more judiciously than you would have in previous lists. For example, a Mayfly here is very valuable to plug a gap until you find the solutions.
I'd kind of hoped to find solutions faster. I'd used it early to crack on with getting some early credits, courtesy of Zaya's ability, and also to pump my my penny pincher as well as my leech. And unfortunately, that was it. That was the end of that. That was Murder She Wrote.
I think Zaya's design for a new player-focused set is beautiful, because it's got that learning curve of, oh my gosh, the more access I get, the more credits I get, and then you go, I haven't drawn any cards, I've got no board state, oh no.
Sure enough, yeah.
You've got to get that balance of lots and lots of aggression, but am I getting to the place I need to be for if the tide turns?
Yeah. The aggression only gains you credits as well, which is great, but with maybe with the creative commissions, had a commission come out, I think I would have been in a better position and less likely to be aggressive on R&D. Although that seemed like a heck of a lot of ice coming out there comparatively to last game.
Yeah.
I had the ice cards come out fairly early, actually, and that really helped.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Getting ice early is nearly always the Corp's default strategy. If your cards are dead against you and all you're getting is agenda and economy, you may as well just chuck them in and say, I'm not bothering this time.
Sure enough.
There are a few decks that don't really intend to play a lot of ice and they just play around it, but for the most part, you want at least something to slow the Corp at the runner down.
Yeah. Cool. Good game, well
really
played.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
I think I feel more comfortable with this deck than I felt with the deck from the last episode.
Oh.
I don't know what it is. I feel like there's more of a chance, just regardless of what you draw.
It suits your style of play, perhaps.
Yeah, my sort of. I like to go hard and fast. Absolutely. Both runner and corp.
That is what she said.
Uh-huh.
Oh, viewers jumped up to 11. Oh, I liked that. That was good.
Yeah, that was cool.
What's the plan? We're on 3 hours. Do you want to go for another day?
No, we should probably call the stream there. 3 is a long time.
I also wanted to ask Mark, is there a thing called speed Netrunner where you only have 10 seconds to make your move?
No, it is. Well, I mean, it could be. It has been oft talked about that maybe we should have a Netrunner event with chess clocks and 10 minutes to play and race through, because there is a kind of variance, even in experienced players, with some people who like to take 30 minutes for every game, and some people who'd like to get through it in 10 minutes if they can.
Yeah, I'm a 10-minute type of player.
I've never witnessed actual speed Netrunner on a clock, but it could be a thing to play with casually sometime.
Yeah.
You should try it, because I mean the default action is just gaining credits, isn't it? They're like, oh cripes, I'm running out of my 30 seconds. Click, click, click.
So in other card games that are available, Magic's tournament events, some formats of tournament have a time limit on not the turns that you play on, but actually your games for that particular round of the tournament. So you play best of 3, and you have something like half an hour to play each best of 3. So if because it's the first 2 wins, usually you're not up against the clock. It's fine. If you get a 1 win and a 1 win, that's when that last round becomes you slamming your stuff down. And if you're not done by the time that the hammer comes down on the clock, then you take 1 more turn each, and it's the person who's closest to dying who loses.
So in competitive play, Netrunner is similar.
Yeah.
So each round lasts 65 minutes. Where I think 65 minutes is based on a game taking 30 minutes, 5 minutes to shuffle up and start all over again, and then 30 minutes for your second game, obviously playing both directions, Corp and Runner.
Mm-hmm.
If at the end of the 65 minutes you haven't finished, that, as you've just described, the current player is allowed to finish their turn. The opposing player may have 1 more turn, and then whoever has the most agenda points at that point in the game wins.
Gotcha.
And if it's a draw, it is a draw. So you can have it. That's what the lesser spotted 4-1 result in a league table. Right, because you get 3 points for a win usually, and nothing for a loss. 1 for a draw. So
gotcha. So yeah, it gets a little bit screwy on the points. That's pretty cool.
Well, so you randomise who plays first.
Mm-hmm.
By rolling a dice, testing a coin, whichever way you want to randomise, and then you're encouraged to play as fast as you can. Durdling is not unheard of, but it's frowned upon like anything else is.
Of course.
So
what's durdling? Is it like dawdling?
Yeah, it's going slow. Except
dawdling
word. Is walking and durdling is not walking. Durdling is taking your time over everything. There's a card in Magic referred to as the Durdle Turtle, because it is a turtle that you play on 1 turn, but it doesn't actually hit the board until the next turn. So you pay all the costs for it up front on turn 4 or 5, and then it doesn't arrive until next turn, which means that even then it's got to go throug't all the summoning sickness process, and it's not usable properly until the turn after that. And it's referred to as the Durdle Turtle. Durdling is.
I always assumed people were just mispronouncing dawdling. And given it was Mark that said it, it's obvious.
Sure enough.
Suspect that it's a northern,
Durdling, I think, specifically refers to slow play. Probably taking its name.
That's
from
why I've never heard about
Magic
it. Okay, get it.
Because lots of the card game terminology starts off in Magic and then gets adopted elsewhere. Tutoring, etc.
Wishes, that sort of shenanigans. Top decking, etc.
Yeah. Sure.
Cool.
So, we will call it there for tonight. But just to recap where we're up to right now, there are 68, 75 cards in System Gateway. We have seen 69 of them so far. Anyone who wants to laugh about 69 should do so now. We will look at 6 of them next week, but we'll also be sort of using that to try and wrap up and look back on System Gateway as a pack, and sort of, if without sounding too dramatic, almost drawing this season to an end.
Wow.
My Discord crashed for the second time, so I know I'm quite late, but can I just say fana about the 69? Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Of course you can.
So it's not going to be the end of what we're doing, but it's a logical point to take stock of what we're up to, and hopefully next week's show will be a little bit different while we do that, and the week after that, well, who boy, have we got exaggerated plans that we can't possibly pull off. But more on that in the future.
Yeah, I tell you what, it does include fire.
Yes,
Bam.
Brilliant.
How do you like them apples? Yeah.
I'm tuning in for that.
Yeah, excellent.
Can I provide the fire?
So good of you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Now that we've dropped the trailer, I guess we'll bring tonight's stream to an end.
Yeah, cool.
So thank you very much to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you again next week. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.